There's dirt on my hands, strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon.
I like it.
What up, guys?
Clear my throat. What's up, man?
How we doing, Will?
I'm doing good. Hey, you can't say, are we good? Because your mic's not muted.
Like that? Yeah.
You gotta let that music play.
I know.
Let that vibe.
Raw.
Hey, so for those of you that don't know, Real Talk, it's obviously same channel, day $1 Obviously, the mentality we have behind it is the same, day $1. It's specific to realtors, lenders, things like that. It's hyper specific to realtors, being that you and I are both realtors. And we live this. We do this every day. There's a lot going on right now as far as a lot of questions. We've gotten a lot of questions through our inboxes. We hear a lot of questions on forums, just through our private pages through Berkshire. There's some things going on there. We wanted to just jump on and do something again. And real talk, just to be specific, it is for the broker world and just how do we operate? How do we approach our business? Things like that. Probably couldn't be a better time. We're not going to have all the answers for you. We are going to talk about what Eli and I are doing to stay afloat and actually excel to the best of our ability during times right now. And it's not because of being super creative, like, and being like how everyone was reacting to this. I don't think anyone was prepared, right? There's nothing that we did yesterday that just had this epiphany and then it just turned our future on. It's everything we've been doing that allows us to keep the leverage. Now, with that being said, it is stuff you could start today while you have time and you've got to rebuild or get creative with how you want to approach your business. This is stuff you could start today that is going to allow you to excel through this. And then several months later down the road, as things tend to pick back up, you're in the winter circle, you're picking up flowers after you plant these seeds. So super important.
Yeah, dude. And I think I'm more now than ever. I think people are going to understand what we mean by day $1. Explaining that to people. A lot of people have a hard time kind of grasping that, or they don't really know what we're talking about. This is what we're fucking talking about, guys.
Yeah.
Day $1. We've been operating our business since day one. Like we don't have any money. Like it is our day one with that level of like drive and motivation.
Well, we didn't.
And
have
also,
any money.
yeah, exactly. And also bootstrapping, like not just spending money, even if we had the 20 grand to pay Zillow every month, I still wouldn't have wanted to fucking do it.
Whoa.
I know we're jumping ahead. We're jumping ahead. But keep that in mind. Day $1, guys. This is what we're talking about. We're all feeling it.
Well, and if you came into this industry on a platter or in a position, not a platter. That's let me be careful with what I say. If you came into this business in a position of benefits, due to whatever your circumstances were, great. However, a lot of us didn't. You were the broke ass entrepreneur forever and figured it out. I was the guy who did everything else but entrepreneurship and slept in a pantry, sold my cars, lived in my buddy's mom's Y2K pantry. Probably a little reminiscent right now. Hey, whatever your pantry looks like right now, that was the pantry that I lived in when I was studying to be a broker. I was next to canned soup, Fig Newton, water. And I'm a stress eater. I've told this before. Listen to me. Living in a pantry when you're stressed to just start something brand new and from the ground up and you got kiddos, hey, dude.
It's bad.
World record on how many Fig Newtons I eat.
You got to hit that snooze button, man, and your hand hits like the Fig Newtons. You can just start munching on those.
More nighttime.
Yeah.
I'm you get a little bit of milk in me with some Fig Newtons. I'm out like a light, but I'm all figged out.
There you go.
Most people are like tequila'd out, or if they even hear Jägermeister, they can't do it. Sidetracked. Long story long. But agreed. So some of the questions we've heard and some things that people are just dealing with right now, let's build that umbrella, right? So the biggest thing is the fear, right? Is holy shit, what's going on? Things are closing. And is that initial fear. And fear is predicated primarily on unknown. As long as you tend to know what's coming, you still have some fear, but you can address it. It's like taking a test and you got to wait 4 days before they post like exam scores on the wall or whatever. I'm not sure what your school history was, but or you got to wait online like a lot of like universities do that. You don't just you don't hand in your paper like high school and the teacher's like, yeah, you're fucked. She just hands it back with an F. No, you got to wait 4 days for your F or your B, whatever you got. And I remember feeling like, oh, I don't even care if it's an F. Like, just tell me right now. And then like, before you know it, you end up getting a B+ or an A. And you're like, oh man, what was I so worried about? It's the unknown that just allows you to be still and just create fear in your head. So obviously, some of this is the unknown. Now, something that you're going to have to just dive into and accept. whether you agree with, there's conspiracies out there of whether this is real or not. Hey, I'm not going to get into that. Here's the deal. It's real. You know why? Because your ass ain't at work.
Yep.
So it's real.
Yep.
You've got to start identifying when things hit the fan and things are real so you can start addressing how to move forward, right? So a lot of the fear right now is that unknown. Well, a lot of your unknown is because you haven't had any of the leverage, right? We're going to kind of get into that today, but the biggest thing we want to cover is some of that unknown and that fear. Some of the questions that have popped up, man, is Zillow. So, like there's a lot of like mortgage relief, relief for renters under, whoever their landlords are, of just not having to pay for 60 to 90 days, car note relief. There's a lot of requests that the governor was coming out with. Not sure what the status is on all that stuff, but relief is coming. However, there's no such thing as like relief moving forward of you being able to rebuild your business, right? Yeah. So a lot of it was Zillow. One of the questions we saw was, hey, is Zillow going to suspend my ad spend? Like people are committed for
people on contracts,
6, 12, 18 months of a certain amount of ad spend per month.
$5,000, $10,000, $20,000.
Are they going to give relief? Right now, the twofold on that is even if they do give relief, when they stop giving relief, are you in a position prepared to now continue to uphold your contract with Zillow and go back to paying your $20,000 or your $5,000 or your $9,000 a month? Just because they give you 90 days off, what are you doing in those 90 days to somehow acquire some income so you can jump back on that and ride it out? So, excuse me, I'm talking so fast,
I hope that's
choking on my spit. Get out of here, bro. Another one that we keep seeing is like the timeline of the market. So not so much that we're having a crash and no one's going to be buying homes. I think now, a week into this thing, people understand a virus is completely separate to the housing market being the virus, right? So obviously this will come
back.
Like
in 08.
But everyone, a lot of people are being affected by this, right? So who's going to see it through? Who's going to be able to purchase homes through this time? Who's going to capitalize on that? And then, hey, what does it look like moving forward with everyone's jobs kind of being delayed, everyone having to rebuild? Is there a delay for you to like come back strong? Yeah, and a lot of folks, a lot of the banks are saying that fourth quarter should be phenomenal. 2021 is going to be phenomenal. Here's the deal. We don't know. You don't know. I don't think anyone knows. There's some educated guesses out there based off of, people that are at scale that maybe can speak on that. But the bottom line is understanding that timeline is super hard. And I would be hyper focused on what you can do now, not sitting there worried about what's to come. Because here's the deal. Whatever does come a couple months from now, you thinking about it isn't going to change the inevitable. It's just going to be 3 months from now, you are still unprepared.
Right.
So we're going to get into that. What to do? Great question. Like, what should you be doing right now? How to get people to listen to you, right? Cost of leads. This kind of, and I want to explain this. I'm going to let you elaborate, but how to get people to listen to me. If you've got some advice, if you have some, if you want to get out there and share, like, hey, here's what I'm seeing from my lens within the market. Here's still what's possible, but no one's listening to me, right? And then you said, hey, cost of leads. So we kind of covered that. I know we're going to get a little bit more elaborate, but something that reminds me of the cost of leads is not just dollar, but the cost of that type of person you're speaking to. Anyone you've been speaking to through like Zillow, I question how loyal they are to you. They don't even know you. Why would they listen to you without thinking that you're just there for a hook to try to get another deal done and it's not in their best interest? That's hard. That's a hard one because we've talked about it before. This is not some capitalize on a down market. Will and Eli are going to bash on Zillow or Realtor.com leads. No, I'm not even against them. There's a time and place for them. I think they're great to supplement your business, just like protein shakes supplement your diet, but they should not be the foundation of your business. You should not rely on another business for the success of your own business.
100%. That's a great way to put it.
I think it's bulletproof, right? It's like, are we gonna rely on Iraq to give us weapons to go fight the war? I fucking hope not.
Yeah.
Right? Because one day you might be up against them. Because right now, Zillow's probably in their own battle.
Yep.
Maybe they can't afford to see things within your best interest. We have no idea what they're battling right now. But a lot of questions. We're going to explain our business model. We're going to dive into it. But the bottom line is you have time. Focus on understanding that I've got to be able to have leverage, right? So Eli and I with our team, right? 2018, we built a top 1% nationwide producing team for Berkshire Hathaway. 2019, we hit top 0.5%. So we increased from there and hit top 0.5% nationwide, for Berkshire Hathaway. Extraordinary. And here's why it's even more extraordinary, because we don't spend a dime on leads. The agents that we have on our team, We taught them to be thinkers. We taught them to be advisors. We taught them to be subject matter experts in their areas, to be able to advise and care for people.
To produce content around all that. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So right now, right, just full disclosure, Eli and I don't have a $20,000 Zillow bill coming in next month that we can't pay because everyone on Zillow is just shutting it down. Or people that don't know how to ask for advice, or they're not being advised appropriately. They found me on Zillow and they're like, we ain't doing this right now. And maybe it could be a great time for you to buy. Maybe not. Either way, you're not necessarily reaching out to me. And either way, I don't have leverage because I've relied on another institution to provide my business success. Yeah. They're hurting just like we are. They're sending people home, right? Like everyone is sending people home. They're sending people home. They're in their own crisis while you're in your crisis.
And I promise they're going to want to keep getting paid, man. And let me tell you something here, guys. If you're listening to this and you think that, my cousin's going to call me or my brother's going to, here's the thing. If you're not a good agent, if you're not proficient at what you do, and if you're not showing the world how proficient you are through good quality content, what's going to happen is now more than ever, guys, in an unknown market, everybody's fearful. Your aunt probably ain't going to give a shit that you're a realtor. Your cousin ain't going to give a shit that you're a realtor. They're going to want to buy a house and know that the person that they're using is good at what they do. So don't expect, like you've seen over the past 10 years, guys, since 2008, like business is just going to come to you. If you're not showing yourself and positioning yourself as a subject matter expert and a professional in what you do, you can't rely on that business.
We've had plenty of calls, and the calls that I've had, believe it or not, man, and it's awesome and it feels good and it lets you know you're doing the right thing. I've had our current clients and past clients reach out to me to ask me how I was doing. Simultaneously, like while I'm reaching out and just asking people, hey, what do you need? What do hey, we've got this. What do you need? Is there anything I can do for you? And this is the relationship that you build when you're in your sphere, right? When I mean sphere, friends and family, when you create your outbound into your sphere. So people that you don't necessarily know all the time. I talk about outbound a lot, like people from the gym, people from the coffee shop, acquaintances from jujitsu, and maybe your kid's soccer practice. You should be knowing these people. You should be doing this over time and knowing everyone. And when you're meeting them in person, if you don't have them on social media, you should be friend requesting them and putting them on social media so you can see what they're up to. They can see what you're up to when you're producing real estate content and you're providing value, not just showing an open house, but you're providing value. They're listening, right? And it pays dividends because people are listening to us right now. People are asking us questions right now about the market and what should they do and not do. And that shows complete, utter trust of, hey, my life is not in shambles. However, this is unknown for me. What should I do? Hey, John, great question. Here's what we think. But they know that we're not going to steer them down a bad road. They know we're not going to just try to get a sell out of them just to make some money. That is the ultimate level of trust. It's like following people into battle, man. Hey, I could get hurt by this, but if I'm following Shantosh, Siketti, Cook into battle, my utmost trust is in you to be a good leader, and I know that I might get fucked up, and that's okay. And this is where we talk about understanding and accepting the situation. Stop being in denial. Stop worrying about whether this is a conspiracy or whatever the fuck. It's not helping you right now. What's going to help you is just understanding it's here, it's real, and you might get damaged, but what are you doing to help everybody else? Our entire business model has been putting people first and helping them, and through social media, providing value. Now, at the end of that rant, let me get back. People that they should be on your social media. Right? So soccer practice, people from the gym, people you're having conversations with, your friends and your family, they should have already been on your social media. If they're not, start finding unique ways. Reach out to old friends right now. If you can't see soccer moms at practice right now, search them on social media, reach out and go, hey, I know I can't see in person, miss hanging out at soccer practice with you. You want to get on a Zoom video chat? Let's talk. And just sit there and have coffee and talk. You don't have to talk real estate, market. You can just ask how they're doing, if their family needs anything. You can start building that value right damn now. Right now, in addition to that, when this thing kind of fades off, people that you know on social media, but you've never met in person, this is a time where you can actually meet them in person and you can create that. And we talk about weaving, right? Like literally weaving your social media sphere in with your real person sphere. So real people, get them on social media. Social media acquaintances, meet them in real person, befriend them. Right now, not very possible. But what you could be doing right now is stepping up. Okay, you're a realtor. That means that in some form of fashion, whether you lead a team, a brokerage, or you're just leading your clients. Listen, past clients, current clients, clients you've been speaking about that maybe want to buy next year and they're in your pipeline, you know what I'm talking about. You're a leader. Now, you're a leader within this one focus, correct? But maybe you're a mom. Maybe you're a dad. Maybe you've been through a crisis. Maybe you're from Louisiana, you're from Texas, and you've gone through terrible stuff with hurricanes and buildings have come down and the entire South was just ramshacked. But you learned how to navigate through that. Would that help right now? Probably, right? Probably. So what I'm getting at is finding a way to just fall back on some of your strengths. Understand right now, this is real. It's time for you to be a leader and step up and make sure that we're not just talking about houses and whatever. You're actually caring for people. What do you need? How can I help you? Because when you're planting those seeds, right, I promise you, if the time comes, you can't just do nice things hoping that there's a return. There's plenty of things that we've done for people before, and there's no return. The return is you're just being a good person. That should be enough. However, I do understand building relationships and conversion on sales. If you start establishing yourself right now and reaching out to people and doing right by them, as this thing tends to blow over, or if they have questions and they see what you're doing, they're going to trust that they can reach out to you and get some proper advice.
You know what I like about this right now? We're all on a level playing field, but more importantly, we all have a common bond right now. Yeah. You talked last week, Camaraderie's Forged in Adversity. This is the perfect opportunity to make those calls to people that you kind of have a relationship with, like friends from the gym, maybe your friends on Facebook, to enhance those relationships. You've got value to bring to everybody. Like just having a stranger call and say, hey, do you need anything? Like, you know, I've got these supplies. Do you need anything? We all have something we can talk about besides the fucking weather for once. Yeah. You know, I think there's just a lot of good opportunities to deepen the relationships that you guys already have that are maybe a little surface. And if there's anything people are craving more now, it's human connection. Whether, like Will said, that's a Skype or a Zoom call, just being that person to make the connection, right? That's huge for realtors, man.
So what I'm getting at with this, because I definitely want to make sure that it's business oriented, right? Like this is not just Will's soapbox. What I'm talking about is, so Eli and I, we've established that for several years. That's how we created our business. We learned how to get involved in schools. We learned how to like just chat with people at jiu-jitsu in the gym and people from my daughter's school and through social media.
Be intentional about it.
Be intentional. But then everything we were doing on social media was not asking for a deal. It was providing value every single week. We started off on video. Once a week, we were doing video.
Value / entertainment.
Well, yeah, we're just knuckleheads, so sometimes it's entertaining. But we started out in the very beginning of just doing a video every Friday. Mm-hmm. Not saying you have to do Fridays, not saying Fridays are the best. It just fit our schedule where we could commit to that and we could do it. So we did that. And we talked about, hey, how does being a dad affect real estate? How does, running a business affect being a dad? How do they coincide together? What am I learning from this that applies to that and vice versa? And then we did talk about market. We talked about how are we staying fit? And hey, now that you and I aren't working in a gym, right? How are we staying fit with quote unquote real jobs? The bottom line was, whether it was talking about real estate in the market, answering questions, going over what was working and not working for us in business, there was never an ask for something. And then when we had a listing or we had a buy, we talked about it. We talked about experience. Hey, what did we experience on that listing? What were the pros and cons? What did we take away from that? What was unique about it? And by providing value, never asking per se for anything, but just giving value, our phones started ringing more, right? As our phones started ringing more, we had more to talk about. As we had more to talk about, more phone calls kept coming in, but it was not me calling you, asking you to be a seller or a buyer. Mm-hmm. We started teaching this to our agents, right? Hitting top 0.5% in the nation without spending a dime on marketing. Extraordinary. I'm more impressed about that than the number that we hit.
And from all new agents too.
All new agents. Yeah. We didn't have any heavy hitters coming in doing 17, 18 deals a year that just decided to come to the team and give us a split. No, not at all. In addition to that, we started creating events. Right? And then events, those get paid for. We have lenders that trust us enough to get deals done the right way and care for people the right way. They say, hey, we got the money side. We'll pay for your events. We just want to make sure as these guys funnel through, whatever broker we're working with, we trust you guys to get it done. We trust you guys to be honest. We trust you guys to follow through with your place in this, right? So, and that worked. Now, we can't do in-person stuff right now, but we could be reaching out one-on-one to all those prior clients. But we started by giving value. It wasn't just walking through an open house. It was topics that provided value. Right now, people are going to be thinking like, should I? So for example, let me give you something. Should I sell my house an hour later? Who knows? Well, you don't know. You don't know specifically what someone's going to want to do because you don't know their specific situation in this storm. However, that's a great video. If you were to sell right now, if you were to go on the market right now, what does that look like? You know currently what it looks like right now. So what does it look like? Is it better to wait? Is it better not to wait? What are their circumstances? Cover these things in your video. And if it's like, hey, if you're doing well, but you're scared and maybe you don't want to list right now, even though I don't think there's anything to be scared of. There's still a lot of buyers out right now, man. Like, and we're seeing that because we have several buyers out right now. So, but what I am saying is, hey, even if you do want to wait a little while because it's not emergent for you to move, and maybe you're worried about your buy side and, oh man, is this going to fall through because the sellers change their mind? Maybe you have worries. Okay. What could you be doing around your house right now? Yeah. So in 60 days or 90 days, it's even better. So when your quote unquote market comes back, because that's your thought, that's what you think is going to happen, you're predicting that as a seller. Great. What could you be doing right now through your home, just virtually, right? Like through Zoom if you want, if you don't want your realtor to come over, like, why aren't we advising what they could do right now to prep their house so you put your best foot forward 90 days from now?
100%.
These are all things you could be speaking about to provide value to your clients.
Yep.
Right? And by clients, I mean fucking people. People are leads. We got to stop like dividing that. Every time when people ask us like about our business, like, oh man, do you guys deal with leads? They don't say buy anymore. Do you guys deal with leads? And I'm just like, hey, so be specific. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean leads? Because, fucking people are leads, right? So do I talk to my neighbor or do I wait for my neighbor to like be on Zillow and I poach him? Like, what do you mean? Right. People are leads. So when there's attention on social media right now and there's a lot going on and people have time to watch, you got to provide value first and foremost. But what type of value? Well, go over, like, don't worry about being fancy, just document. So what are people's worries right now as a seller, as a buyer? And then go over every scenario and just build value there. You're going to gain attention. And when you can come through this time right now of being a trusted professional, as things tend to clear up, who do you think they're talking to? Do you think they're going back on Zillow? Won't be much there, especially if people can't pay for it.
They're not talking to their aunt, promise you that.
Or did they see you consistently going through social media, advising to the best of your ability within the lens you can speak to, and they trust that you're going to be proficient? Hey, you made it through the storm. Hey, this sailor of a broker just navigated this ship through the storm. I bet they know what they're doing, and maybe you do. But you should, as a leader, be addressing some of these fears, is my opinion.
Dude, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Again, and this is where, man, the day $1 mentality comes in, because even when times were great and deals were just flooding everywhere, Will and I still operate from this place, not of fear, but of this place of like, we just don't want to be over leveraged. We don't want anyone having control over us or our business decisions. In addition to that, like, it's just silly, and we're able to see that, like, man, any business with that much overhead, that the one little decision, or as we saw, like overnight, is just that rug is pulled out from under you, man. That's a scary place. And I think that's a benefit to you and I having our backgrounds, that we did individually, but then together, of just coming from a place of like, man, I've never really had to rely on anybody, and it's gotten me, to a good place. And I mean, that's the entrepreneur side of like, man, I don't want dude, you can pay me a lot of money, man, but if I'm not certain that I'll have a job tomorrow because some CEO decides he doesn't need me anymore, I'm not down with that, dude.
It's also scary for just normal workers. Like, I have friends that are not entrepreneurs, and they always ask me like, oh man, like I got benefits here, and my paycheck, like, and that sounds cliche. That sounds like I'm making it up for this podcast. I promise you I'm not.
No, everyone says that. Yeah.
I've had friends that were cops that are extraordinary people, dude. They're still cops, and they felt like, hey man, I'm too far in this. I got a mortgage. I got this. I got that. I get my consistent paycheck. I'm going to go check the box, wash my hands. I got 16 more years, or I got 9 more years, and I'm out of this thing. And I'm like, wow, that's a super hard place to be mentally and just for your energy. Public service, is it going anywhere? Probably not, compared to some of these other industries, not just with Corona, but with anything else. But, with a lot of these industries right now, I think people are going to wake up and realize like, hey, that consistent check you get is not guaranteed like you think. It doesn't just pop out of the fucking ground. It's not growing on trees. A lot of these organizations, maybe they do go under, or they cut in half. And then where are you going to be? So it's huge. Now, being resourceful and relying on other people for your business is different. So when we talk about, some of the lenders that we work with, and they pay for events, and then we pay for certain things, and we go out and help clients, right? It's our value that we brought to the table. Now everyone is bringing some sort of value to the table, versus like, if you, just paying that much for leads and just having no leverage. Like, I don't know where it came from, But through military stuff, through mercenary stuff, through cop stuff, listen, man, not having leverage is a scary place to be. And I think that I just innately brought that to business, but right now it's paying off. And what I challenge everyone to do is get your mind right, get your body right. We talked about that on one of our last podcasts. If you didn't listen to it, and maybe you're listening to this because it's specific to realtors, getting your mind and your body right every single day could not be more important. If you're not doing that, look up 75 Hard, right? Andy Frisella owns a supplement company, does a ton of different stuff, super duper entrepreneur. He's got a great 75 Hard program. There's not a specific diet. You just pick a diet. You drink a gallon of water a day. You're getting 2 workouts in a day for 45 minutes. One is inside, one is outside. Look it up, hashtag 75 Hard on Instagram. Look it up on the internet. Find a way to keep on track and keep your mind and your body right. That everything starts and ends with that. And then something next is get to the drawing board on dissecting what does my business look like right now? What have I relied upon for how long? Even if you say, hey, Will, I don't buy leads, but I've relied off of referrals. We know some agents, 85% of their business has been referrals from other agents because they don't work in that town, right? Like a lot of, like for example, we know some Denver agents that refer stuff to an agent in the Springs. I wonder right now and in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, as everyone builds back up, are they going to give you that referral or are they going to drive their ass to the Springs and do the fucking deal?
That's a great question.
So this isn't just about Zillow, Realtor.com. This is about how have I structured my business? What is what does that infrastructure look like? Where's my leverage at? Do I have the most influence possible in my business? And if it's no, or if it could be better, I'm challenging you. Get into your think tank about leveraging and maintaining leverage. You've got the time right now. Restructure how you want your business to look like. And if you're like, I wish I could get people to see how we scaled, because building value for people was extraordinary. It was not calling and asking for deals. It was building value through social media. And again, not everyone's on your social media. Even people that are on your social media, not everyone sees your video. I get it. It was what we did in person. And Eli will attest to this. I was banging out several hundred messages a week on my Instagram Messenger. They were not copy and pasted. They were real damn conversations. I was really asking people how they were doing, how their family was. It wasn't for a deal. They literally started talking to me about the deal. I was just putting myself in front of them with care. And it was real. I was gone for 10, 11 years between the Marine Corps and some government work. I was out of sight, out of mind. I was gone.
You're quarantined, bro.
Then I came home.
Quarantined for a decade. Yeah.
No shit, right? You might, maybe it was on the moon, right?
Yeah.
Then I come home and I'm like, I'm going to college again. And I'm a cop working graveyards. Yep. So I'm home, but you never see me. And I remember my mom saying that one time when I left the police world and I started working with that fitness company. My mom was like, I'm finally happy. Like I'm just relieved. Yeah. And I'm like, come on. My mom and I, we talk tough to each other. I'm like, come on, be a bitch. Yeah. My mom's a 3-time Olympian. I can say that to her because she ain't no bitch.
She's tough, yeah.
And she's like, no. She's like, I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, well, you came home and you're just doing the same thing you were doing already, just locally. So I was still scared. I was still nervous and I never saw you. And I'm like, man, perspective.
Yep.
So I get there, but it just hit home with that. And I'm not sure why I was going there with it. What was I talking about? I brought my mom up and I'm like, I got to call her.
The messages and being communicative and just reaching out to people.
Me. Yes, thank you. So what I'm getting at is it was just fun to reach out to people I hadn't spoken to in years and not expect anything from them, show them. I deliberately would not talk about real estate to just show them. But I do know, here's a little hook for you. It was organic. There was no hook to it. But I do know if I'm liking your stuff on Facebook, if I comment on it, if I'm sending you a message on Instagram Messenger or Facebook Messenger, I know you're going to start seeing my content. And if you choose to watch it, you'll see it. And if you don't, you're going to scroll right past it. But I understood sending out that many direct messages that were not copy and pasted. They were real conversations. I was really having a great time just getting in touch with so many people I hadn't seen in so long. As I was messaging them, dude, they would just start seeing my stuff in their newsfeed, and then vice versa. I'd see their stuff, and I'd comment and like their stuff. And then it just grew from there. But there's a lot of work behind those messages. There's a lot of care. If you're faking it, if you're just going to do that to think that you're going to get someone in 2 weeks, maybe you do get someone in 2 weeks. But if you're only doing it for the short term to like live through this time, you're wrong. It takes longer than that, and there's more than that to it.
Well, people got to realize, and I think this is why a lot of people struggle building a business not off of leads, because when someone has skin in the game, when they're paying money for a lead, by pay leads, I should say, when you're paying money for a lead and you've got skin in the game, you tend to put more restrictions on yourself as far as like, okay, I'm going to do prospecting. I'm going to call from these times. I'm paying for these. I want to make sure I'm getting my money out. So people are more regimented in their follow-up and their contacts and that sort of thing. But what people don't realize is that when you build a business the way we do, you still need to do the same thing, but now you're prospecting are DMs. Your prospecting is putting out content. Your prospecting is bringing value and entertainment to your Facebook.
You're not being babysat.
Videos.
Yeah.
You're not being babysat, but you still need to have those sort of systems in play and just look at it as you're prospecting. But you're just engaging with people. You're talking to people in public.
True.
It's the same.
And
shit.
I've heard several people that spend a lot of money on leads, man. These are friends of mine. They've literally said leads are the cocaine of the industry because it feels good right now. And if you're not on it, getting that now because it's now business. So, or sometimes
and
it's kind of faded these past couple months. I think people are just tired of realtors calling them. I don't know. But it's tempting. It's there. And you put so much money into it and you're getting a return, but it's hard to come off of because even the best of the best understand you got to come off at some point. You got to rebuild, right? Like you have to come down from your little coke high and get real. And the thing is, the time you put into your sphere and you're outbound and meeting people in person and getting them on your social media and vice versa, social media in person, and some of that's altered right now, but getting those Zoom calls in, messaging people, checking on them, asking how they're doing, asking what creative workouts they got going on, give something of value if they have something that you could give, couldn't be more important. And I promise you, like when it's your sphere and you're outbound or people that know you through an acquaintance, the level of referral you start getting from those people because they trust you. Dude, we've gotten several referrals from people that we haven't even done a deal with. They just trust that we're doing a good job. You don't see that as a norm in the paid leads world. I know guys that have been on it 6, 7 years, man, 5 years. They're still paying. And you start thinking like, hey, if you paid that much for that long, wouldn't at some point all these past clients be a book of business that send you referrals? No. You're meeting people in Vegas. They meet you. Yeah, they meet you off Zillow. They accidentally answer your phone call instead of someone else's. You sound halfway decent. They do it. Dude, I was talking to one of my boys, super successful. Not going to throw his name out there. Don't have permission. He literally took someone out on a Saturday. This is before all this stuff happened. It's like, hey, great. Like
a Zillow lead.
Took a paid lead out on a Saturday. And they were like, oh, and he's like, hey, cool. What does you guys' weekend look like? And like, oh, we're going to go see more homes tomorrow down in Castle Rock or whatever. And he's like, oh, cool. Like, which ones would you like me to go there and show you? And they were like, oh, no, it's okay. We contacted another realtor in Castle Rock that can show us around. People don't even understand the etiquette of keeping a realtor. They just think, oh, well, this guy's in Denver. He'll show me Denver. And then I'm looking in Castle Rock. Oh, this guy could show me Castle Rock. What? Dude. And it's now some people might know and just not care. I venture to think a lot of people just don't understand the etiquette behind that, especially with a lot of flat rate places out there right now.
Why would they? And look at this. They don't see the money that gets paid every month. They don't know how much work went into contacting them. In their eyes, the consumer's eyes, oh, this guy just showed up to show me a house for 20 minutes. Why would I have any loyalty to him? I'll just call another guy. He just took 20 minutes. I don't have any loyalty to him.
Exactly. So the bottom line is, and they're not even at a place where they understand, especially if they're first-time home buyers, they don't understand how much goes into contracts and negotiating inspection objections, or on the listing side, the resolution. Just a lot goes into a communication and just structuring things the right way to make sure there's a good job, right? Like, and they don't necessarily know that. The bottom line is, regardless of reason, it's not normal to get dude, you and I average 2, 3, 4 referrals per person we help. We're getting that because they knew us prior, or they knew someone who knew us and they feel comfortable. We kick ass, we go. On the paid lead side, even when you're kicking ass, I trust to think that a lot of you are probably doing a decent deal, right? They don't understand or like send you referrals. Like there's guys that are in the game for how many years and they haven't been able to come off of it because it's a damn
and look at that.
door.
It's time consuming, bro. You have to do that prospecting, and all that time. Talk about cost of leads. The time cost, the cost of that time that you're not engaging with your sphere. That's the most expensive part of leads, man.
Because your sphere will send you referrals as long as you do a good job. You've got to crush. You got to know what you're doing. You got to do a good job. But and I don't want to get this too long. But this time It's super precious. It's super important. I think we should just continue this on Friday.
Yeah,
maybe we'll do another one on Friday or Monday.
Yep.
I know Fridays are usually different. It's our other podcast, but maybe we'll just do a back-to-back. We'll kind of see what the comments. If you guys have comments or questions, please throw them in, and we can give you our thing. But what I want to leave you with today is just understanding that day one, $0 mentality, right? Even guys that are well off, like that makes a significant amount of money. You'll hear it in other different forms, but just keeping that mentality of being a dog in the fight and never giving up on that, and just understanding like right now you can't change what's going on. No matter whenever everyone gets back to work, right now we're still working. Is that going to change? I hope not, but if it does, you roll with it. Either way, you have more time right now. Diving in and caring for people and restructuring what your business looks like right now could not be more important. You got to come out a subject matter expert. You got to start building value with people. When you're looking around and you see social media full of garbage, full of just either it's no big deal or it's this huge deal and it's a zombie apocalypse and we're all going to die, or people debating and arguing about whether the president was right or not right, or whether this doctor saying don't worry, but this doctor saying is worry. Everyone's in disarray. Not everyone. That's a blanket statement. A lot of people are in disarray. When you're looking around and no one's leading, especially in your community, that is a telltale sign right now. Get up and start leading. People need direction. People need leadership. Stay within the lanes that you can speak to. If you're a mom and something's working, talk about it. If you're a dad and something's working, talk about it. If you're a real estate agent and there's things that are working for you right now, talk about it. If something's not working for you and this is hitting home and you got to get better at it, comment, send us messages, ask us questions, get better at it, and then go talk about it. But it couldn't be more important right now to be that positive light and just understanding it's here. We've got to improvise. We've got to adapt. We've got to overcome and see it through. And that way, never again are you vulnerable to another institution feeding you. Bottom line, day one, $0 mentality. It's never, I can't be more serious about how important that is, man.
Well, I hope it's a wake-up call for people, man.
If you have questions, comments, whatever you guys would like, if you want us to discuss something, if we can speak to it, I love to speak to it. We do try to stay in our lane as far as what's worked for us. Obviously, Eli and I right now are in not a terrible position. We've got a lot of business that's still going on. We have other things that are going on. We're still getting phone calls and people that are concerned and have questions, but that are trusting our advice that did not come from a week ago. It came from years of just putting people first for the right reasons, whether they were giving us a deal or not, and just taking care of them. I think right now is an ample opportunity to be that leader and start restructuring your business as such and rethink your approach if it's very other institutional heavy to provide you with business.
We appreciate you guys listening. Just a reminder, we like doing this once in a while. We are on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, anywhere you can get podcasts in case you can't watch us on Facebook all the time. Definitely check us out there and subscribe.
100%.
We'll be back later this week, guys.
Happy Monday. Stay strong.
Appreciate you. All right. We'll see you guys.
Out.